Washington Mornings on the Mall. And AM 630.
Good morning, 7:37 here on Mornings on the Mall. Joining us in half an hour, Josh Kraushaar from the National Journal. He'll give us a preview of, it would be actually a quicker segment if he tells us who's not running for the Democrat nomination for president. 8:25, Ellen Kamalakis will be joining us. She's with the Virginia Department of Transportation. It is snowing. She'll tell us about the roads in Virginia. And at 8:35, S.A. Miller from the Washington Times on the special election in Virginia. I'm Mary Walter with Vince Colonies.
Oh, good morning. Joining us right now, Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch, right here in studio. Tom, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning. I feel like one of the members of the soccer team in that Andy's plane crash outside. It's really bad out.
Oh, is it that bad getting out there, getting across town in the snow?
Well, you know, there's about a quarter of an inch of snow on the ground, and it's snowing in the air. So
yeah,
there
are people outside, which means there's chaos. All right, well, be careful out there. Tom issuing a good warning this morning. Tom, let's ask about Andrew McCabe, the former FBI deputy director and the acting FBI director for a moment. And he was ultimately fired by the FBI, of course, for lying 4 times. But he's been on this book tour. I want to start with Cut 13. This is him with Anderson Cooper yesterday. Cooper asking the tough questions. Is the president of the United States a Russian asset?
Do you still believe the president could be a Russian asset?
I think it's possible. I think that's why we started our investigation, and I'm really anxious to see where Director Mueller concludes that.
He's keeping the dream alive, Tom.
That's just so silly. And he knows it's silly. He doesn't believe the president's a Russia asset. And all of these investigations, and particularly the one they began as using the Comey firing as a pretext, recall, even that's a lie, because they were investigating President Trump at the time. They had begun investigating him during the campaign. They had placed informants on his campaign through the FBI, CIA, Defense Department, you name it. So they already were spying on Trump. And his complaining about the investigation became a reason to further spy on him. Just incredible abuse. And, you know, I've pointed out this is a threat to our Republican form of government. Unelected bureaucrats, appointed officials, talking about overthrowing the president because they disagree with the personnel decision.
And it's not like there was anything secret that he knew that we now don't. And the reason I know that is because he told Anderson Cooper that yesterday. Here, listen, next cut 14. This is questions about whether or not there's anything that hasn't been made public yet. And here's how Andrew McCabe answers.
Are there other things that haven't been made public at this point that contributed to the opening of the investigation into the president?
I'm not so sure that there are things that haven't been made public.
Wow. Okay. So there's no secret information about his connection to Russia that we don't know of. So therefore, this is all a farce.
Well, my response to that also is, what has Mueller been doing for 2 years? The hope from the left is that there's some sort of big thing he's uncovered, just hasn't been disclosed yet, showing Russia collusion. And once again, we're getting further confirmation there really was nothing there to begin with, and there's unlikely anything that's been uncovered since then. And why the heck is Mueller still operating, harassing and impairing the president of the United States?
You know, he tipped his hand just a little bit when he said in that interview with Anderson Cooper, he said that he thinks the president is a Russian asset and said, that's why we started our investigation. So you're starting to see here the way this is going to be framed, I think, that, oh, well, yeah, we thought the president was a Russian asset. So we went into panic mode and we did what we're supposed to do, and that's protect the American people.
Yeah, that to me is just after the fact rationalization. They never had a good faith basis to initiate an investigation of the president. What is he going to say? We investigated him because I was angry about him firing my colleague, James Comey. I didn't like the fact he was elected. I disagreed with the way he tweeted. I just didn't like the way he behaved as president, so I was going to abuse my authority to investigate him and try to force him out of office. He's never going to make a confession, so he's going to say the things that he thinks necessary to keep himself out of jail.
What do you make of him throwing Rod Rosenstein under the bus? He also threw James Comey under the bus, and he also threw Loretta Lynch under the bus, saying that she should have recused herself, and he criticized her decisions during when the FBI was investigating Hillary Clinton's email server. It seems to me that Andrew McCabe is just cutting and running for himself, and he's throwing a lot of other people out there for the wolves.
Well, he's casting himself as a whistleblower in some respects to protect himself in any future criminal prosecution for his alleged lies. And the differences that he had and Comey had with Loretta Lynch are they go back a long way in the Clinton email investigation. Neither wanted to take responsibility for the sham investigation that was wired from the start. And the FBI is being blamed for the sham investigation. And what Comey's saying is, don't blame us, blame the Justice Department. And there's some truth in blaming both of them, but you just have to take it for what it's worth out of someone who's simply not credible.
Yeah, well, Andrew McCabe differing from James Comey in a whole bunch of ways, and those fault lines may actually produce some interesting facts coming up. But I also want to play some more audio from Andrew McCabe yesterday as he talked about James Comey and where the two men vehemently disagree. Tom Fitton stays with us, 7:43 on WMAL.
Then why did James Comey deny the claim that he approved your leaks to the press?
I don't know why Jim Comey doesn't remember the conversations that we had in the same way that I do. It is understandable. He was under an enormous amount of stress at the time. He had a lot of other kind of more important things to worry about. I can't explain why he doesn't remember them the same way I do.
I thought you guys wrote everything down.
We wrote down things when we were dealing with people we didn't trust.
Like the president.
Exactly.
Suggesting that he actually had records of his conversations with the president as well. Tom Fitton's with us here in studio. This fight between Andrew McCabe and James Comey, do you think it'll help yield some of the facts of what actually happened?
Well, they're fighting over whether McCabe was authorized to talk to the media about defending the FBI's involvement in the Clinton Foundation investigation. Remember, McCabe was trying to tell the media, look, we're still investigating it. We haven't been curtailed despite DOJ efforts to try to curtail the investigation. You know, McCabe says, I don't remember telling him he was authorized. I don't know who to believe.
Right.
I mean, frankly, both witnesses aren't terribly credible. The IG found that his protestations that he didn't lie not to be credible. So it may be up to a jury to decide. But if I were a prosecutor, would you want to put James Comey's credibility up against Andrew McCabe's? I don't know. But, you know, in the end, though, McCabe isn't one of the reasons he was a problematic deputy director of the FBI and acting FBI director was because he was willing to use the FBI to go after the president for improper reasons.
Sure.
And
his credibility is central to the following allegation as well, whether or not he can be believed on this. And if he can be believed, Rod Rosenstein really does have some questions to answer. Take a listen.
The point of Rosenstein wearing the wire into a meeting with the president was what? What did he hope to obtain?
I can't characterize what Rod was thinking or what he was hoping at that moment. But the reason you would have someone wear a concealed recording device would be to collect evidence. And in this case, what was the true nature of the president's motivation in calling for the firing of Jim Comey?
It's a big deal, trying to wear a wire and record the president of the United States.
And incredibly, Rod Rosenstein's never been questioned by Congress about it. Incredible. And you know, Judicial Watch was just sued this week or last week for documents about this whole mess. DOJ continues to cover up, doesn't want to release one document. As has been indicated, Mr. McCabe wrote secret memos improperly on the president. We don't know where they are. Supposedly they're with the special counsel's office. But what a rat's nest at the top levels of the FBI and Justice Department. Attorney General Barr, he needs to come in and overturn some tables to clean house there. And if he doesn't, we're going to have more of the same. We'll have another attack on a republic. Next time around, maybe the next president.
Do you see those? That's what I was going to ask you. Do you see the new attorney general coming in and doing that and clearing house and saying this has got to stop and we need these papers and let's go?
You know, I could be pleasantly surprised. You know, when they advise you on the radio about investment opportunities, they say past experience is no indication of future performance. It's a pretty good rule of thumb for politics. So I'm not hopeful, and this is why Judicial Watch does its own independent investigations. But we should still encourage Attorney General Barr to do the right thing because he may be as outraged about this as we are. And he is in a position to do something about it.
I'm with you. Deeply cautious optimism. All right, Tom Fitton, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
7:51 now, WMAL.